Hello, hello, everybody. How are you?
Hey everyone. Hey Julia. Thanks for having us.
Hello,
Uh,
super fine and super happy to
hey,
be here.
hey, everybody. Today we are going to talk about MEV, a very controversial topic. And we have with us today incredible experts from Alchemy and from Jito and as well as Solana Foundation. So we are going to hear both sides of the story, the Ethereum and the Solana side, and we are going to see how MEV is different in both ecosystems and what it is. Basically, we are going to talk about how to deal with MEV. And welcome, Uttam, and welcome, Kuga.
Thank you.
How are you guys? How is it going?
Good. Everything is going good. Hey everyone, I'm Uttam. If you don't know me, I am a DevRel engineer who works at Alchemy. I am pretty much very active on Twitter, always there all the time. I'm really excited about the space that we are going to discuss today on MEV. I do have like a 4-hour course that I created back then, like 2, 3 years ago on MEV. And after that, I have been a little off, but yeah, excited to be here again and talk about what is going on in the MEV space. Thanks, Julia, for having me.
And thanks for the invitation. I'm really excited to dive into the topic. I'm gonna learn more about MEV on Ethereum. To give a little bit of context, my name is Kuga, and I work at the Solana Foundation in the grants team, but also doing the growth in Europe for Jito. And we launched an initiative called Jet, which is a Jito expansion team, and we are growing the brand in Europe for Jito. And I joined Jito in February, while I've been at the Solana Foundation since February 2023, and I've been on Solana since 2021. And to give also more information about myself, I'm not like a deep technical person, but I can talk about MEV, and I'll have a very different take from Utama, I think, because I think MEV is not seen the same way on Solana and on Ethereum. So super excited.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm super excited to learn more about these differences as well. But I would like to start with a very general question because I think that not everybody knows what MEV is, although it's a very controversial topic and it's a topic that usually divides the room in two. Some think that it's kind of a dark forest monster that we should be afraid of. And other people think that it's actually something that makes the block space more efficient. And so today we are going to talk about MEV, whether it's something good, maybe bad, or maybe it's just a bot, maybe it's just a new reality that we live in. And then we are going to talk about all the actors in this ecosystem and what are the validators and searchers and stuff like that. And then we are going to see what kind of MEV solutions are there for MEV mitigation and some solutions that are trying to make this MEV thing more ethical and fair. And then we'll see what the future holds and what's going to happen next. So my first question is basically, what's your take on MEV? Is it a necessary kind of coordination layer, or is it this parasitic, exploitative monster from the dark forest that we should protect ourselves against? What do you think, guys?
I can Google first. Yeah. So I personally don't think so that MEV is good or bad. It's just simply a byproduct of how the decentralized system works. So whenever you have an open, permissionless market and public mempools, opportunities for like value extraction will naturally arise no matter what, right? And rather than trying to like eliminate MEV, we should think about how to manage and like distribute it in a way that aligns those incentives. And at its core, like MEV plays a very crucial role in making like market more efficient. Things like arbitrage and liquidations, they ensure that the prices literally remain same across exchanges and assets. And they keep the DeFi market healthy, right? But at the same time, there is also toxic MEV, like front running attacks or sandwiches, like that directly harms the user, right? So it's just not a question of good or bad, it's just a byproduct. So in my view, that MEV is a necessary coordination layer, but it needs to be structured properly. So we are going to discuss designs, new designs that is coming in like PBS or what Jito is trying to do. We will be discussing it in our future spaces, but I think rather than trying to like kill MEV, we need to channelize it in a transparent and a fair way.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with what you just say. Um, I think that MEV is not like a bad or good product. It's the way you use it. I mean, what will be the outcome of the MEV on any chain? Um, like for example, with Jito, we use it to uh, make the whole blockchain faster, secured, and all around validators and stuff. And it really depends on which ecosystem you have the MEV type. Like, I mean, it's the same everywhere, but um, on Ethereum, you'll have slower transaction with higher MEV rewards, while on Solana, it's going to be lower MEV rewards with a faster transaction. And it's what you would make out with these benefits on Solana, for example, because that's where I know the most. And I think that there there is that people that will see MEV as a way to make money for themselves, while others will create project around MEV to be like, oh, okay, we can provide value to the whole ecosystem by using this way, and the whole MEV all around Solana. So I agree, and I think that depends on where you side yourself. But the more we go forward, the more I see people trying to use it as a good thing on all ecosystem, because it it brings a lot of money. And I think that if you make this money flow within your own ecosystem, it really brings a lot of value and good thing. Uh, and I discovered MEV through Jito, so I never really have seen the really bad part or aspect of MEV. So I think that's uh, that's my answer.
Yeah, so you've already started with an ethical MEV solution. And I'm wondering what are the steps that are already taken in the space to make MEV more ethical and fair, like these jitter auctions? Could you tell me more about what's going on Solana to go in that direction, and what's going on Ethereum? Maybe something about PBS or something like that.
Okay. The thing that's happening on Solana is that we see more and more project, as I said earlier, trying to catch or ride the wave of MEV and anything that is related to the core infrastructure of blockchain. And today there is this different growing ecosystem where we realize that we are not that big compared to the rest of the world, and be like, okay, we need to position ourselves right now and see how we can impact the right way, in our case on Solana. And the way we make it more ethical is when we will have 100% of the MEV rewards being given all around the whole ecosystem to anything that could be a public good value for Solana, Ethereum, or anything. I know that we won't reach 100% because some people will just try to get their own money with by front running or sandwich. But I think that uh, having more and more competitors, more and more actors all around will make sane competition, but also make us think about innovation. That's where we bring BAM to fight against sandwiches, and also it will be less shadowy and make people understand what it really is, because it's technical, and I think that most of the people don't understand what's MEV and even what's Jito. When I ask people, do you know Jito? They're like, oh yeah, I know Jito. And when I tell them, do you know what we do? Most of them are like, I don't know. You have an LST and that's all. So I think that having more and more major actor around this that really share where the money is flowing all around is really valuable for any ecosystem and will make it more ethical and more transparent for everyone, every actor.
What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I think I totally agree with what he said. And then especially on Ethereum, we have seen like solutions like PBS. So just to give it a bit of a history, like before the merge, Ethereum had this one particular particular entity who was supposed to like also build the block and also like propose the block. So and after the merge, there was a thing called this PBS, which was proposer builder separation. So instead of like a single validator deciding which transaction to include, so building the block and proposing the block to the Ethereum mainnet, it opens the door to like private ordering and manipulation. And with PBS, it separates the role. That is, the builder is different and the proposer is different, right? So builder compete to create the most valuable block and proposes simply to pick the highest bid. And this not only reduces the centralization pressure, but also makes MEV market more open and more auditable. So right now, after PBS, so also right now the PBS is externally, it is not enshrined inside the Ethereum protocol, which needs to be done through a hard fork. So that's going to happen in the future. Right now, it is externally. So there is a tool called MEV Boost that people run, that validators run on the side. So the flow it works right now is, maybe I can share my screen. Oh, it's fine. So right now, as a user, what you do is you use a wallet, whatever wallet it is, and then with the use of like call data, you call this wallet and you tell what is your intent, whether you want to swap or whatever you want to do on this decentralized internet, right? And then with the wallet, the transaction goes through these three players called searchers, builder, and validator. So as a user, you don't realize it, but all these things are happening under the hood. So first, the searcher actually goes through all these transactions from the public mempool and trying to create the value out of it by basically extracting value, whether it is sandwiching it or whatever he's trying to do, right? And then this goes on, and the searcher creates then a bundle of these transactions and trying to make sure that it extracts the max value out of that bundle, and then it submits it to the builder who actually builds the block. And then once this block is built, it goes to like validator, the proposer, who's going to submit this block to the Ethereum mainnet, right? So it's a pretty complex process, and as a user, I don't think so you need to know all of this. But when you're doing like a bigger transaction above, like, let's say $5,000, and you're swapping, then there are probably a lot of chances that MEV will be extracted, you will be sandwiched, or you will lose a lot of value, right? On L1, still we have like a decent supply chain and fewer arbitrage. When I talk about L1, I say Ethereum L1. We have very decent supply chain and fewer arbitrage and sandwiching and better kind of liquidations. But on L2s, the scene is different. So I can discuss L2s again in the future as we move forward. But right now, still on Ethereum mainnet, the things are solved. Flashbots have been doing a lot of good work on the MEV space. And then on Solana, I'm not much aware of what's going on in the MEV space of Solana, but I think Kyoga covered everything around what Jito is trying to do. I think basically it's the same thing, but different tech and different ecosystem.
What do you say, Kuga? Would you say that it's pretty much the same, or are there fundamental differences between Ethereum and Solana and how MEV operates there, and the kind of actors that are involved in MEV economy?
Well, I won't be able to compare both of them because I'm literally discovering how it is on Ethereum. I knew the basics, but I'm still learning how it is. But I think that it really we won't have the same approach on it because we don't have the same views as builders, users, and the whole ecosystem. So I think that the way people are building on Solana will not build the same way on Ethereum. Like the value that they want to extract out of the MEV will not go towards the same objectives at the same on Ethereum. Uh, the only thing that I think to really again to make it ethical is the transparency. Like, I know it's gonna sound different when we're talking about the future and the privacy and stuff, but I think that having a good transparency on where does the MEV that you're working around impact stuff, because we're through Jito we're impacting around LSTs and DeFi and validators and all the infrastructure, but there is ways to be like, oh, okay, maybe if I come with a new idea and how I can impact a new part of the blockchain, um, that's gonna grow the whole part of the pie of MEV. The same way we've been thinking about, oh, how can we grow the basic blockchain back in 2016 to 2017, and when NFTs came, we're like, oh, okay, we can do only that with NFT. And the more we go forward, the more we find ways to use NFTs, the way to use smart contracts, the way to use blockchain, and more and more. And I think that this topic of MEV is still growing, and that's why us again at Jito, we launched this initiative called Jito Expansion Team, which is first, of course, growing the brand, but also making more people aware of what we do, and at least understand that when they hear MEV, it's not a bad thing, but more technical aspect of the blockchain where you could work around as well, because I think that the more builders you put into this topic of MEV, the more people will be like, oh, maybe I should try to do something. It won't be successful, maybe it will be super successful, but at least you have more and more people trying and bringing innovative idea, and that's where I think uh, we'll have less and less non-ethical builders, because it will be more valuable to like be part of the ethical people and build something that really will bring value to the whole ecosystem, either it's Solana, Ethereum, or any other one. So I agree with them.
Yeah, I totally agree. Exactly what Jito is doing at the moment. And there are a lot of other approaches to these MEV mitigation solutions. And I was wondering, which approaches do you think are already like technically um, applicable and can be used at the moment, and which are still in development and maybe a bit overhyped? So, what do you think about these different solutions that exist in the market at the moment?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I personally think the TE approach that is being used right now, it's pretty exciting, and I'm pretty bullish on that. So as I said, that L1 right now has a pretty decent supply chain for MEV, but on L2s, the scene is very different. Like how the MEV works, the MEV supply chain, it's very different. Because with all these like L2s and rollups, we have like a centralized sequencer, and that is the only one that is controlling the order flow, right? So now what happens with the L1, which is Ethereum, which is a very expensive layer to like do on-chain transaction as a MEV searcher, as a MEV bot, right? So on Ethereum, whenever there is like a searcher or as a MEV bot, they run it off-chain, and then try to search the mempool and then create a bundle and then put it on chain, right? But on MEV, since the on a base on any L2, since the transactions are so cheap, it's very cheap to like do any kind of transaction on these chains. These L2s suffer from spamming by MEV bots, right? So what these bots do is they try to like spam the chain with a lot of transaction, and hoping that at least one of them would like land and they will have profit, right? So basically, they could land like hundreds of transaction on the chain itself. Okay, you get like you also you need to pay fees for those reward transactions. So, but even if 99% of those transactions are failed, even if one of those transaction lands, they can make like 50 to $100,000, depends on like their skills, right? If you're lucky as a MEV bot or as a MEV arbitrage, right? So, as I said, that these L2s, especially like Base recently find out that most of the transactions are like MEV bots and spamming because people are trying to extract MEV from that, right? So, and if you want to really scale these rollups, we need to address MEV. That's where the Flashbot's rollup boost comes in. So it solves this problem by auctioning the order based on like the priority fees. So priority fees is kind of a transaction ordering. So there is a thing called priority fee, and then whenever you are doing a transaction on these L2s, you can pay a good amount of this priority fee to ensure that your transaction is landing first as compared to other transactions. So the more you give the priority fees, the chances of your transaction getting on top of the block goes higher, right? And this allows the protocol to like capture the MEV opportunity. And this priority auction is conducted inside an external builder service with the TE, right? So that's where they're using TE, and TE ensures that the privacy of these bits and the correct ordering are placed, based on the priority fee, right? So TEs doesn't give you a censorship resistance in block building, but they let you safely decentralize and distribute it to many parties in many locations so they can contribute to each block, right? And this maximizes the global participation in block building, and that is what really provides censorship resistance. So yeah, I personally think this T approach is really good. Yeah, and then there are other approaches as well. Private mempools. That is, even privacy is very hot right now on crypto Twitter. Near launched their uh, private intents thing. I haven't looked into that, but that is pretty interesting. So having a private mempool, that also kinds of help, because the arbitrageurs and the searchers, the MEV bots, they won't be able to see your transactions. So you're saved from that MEV. So yeah, there are a couple of different approaches, but I think T and private mempools is pretty much very hot right now. Would love to listen what's Jito's approach to that. Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for the transition. To give more context about what Jito is doing through MEV, part of the MEV reward, most of the MEV reward goes into the whole Jito ecosystem through Tiprouter, LST, the Jito Sol token, which is now cost higher than 1 Sol. So one Jito Sol token was 1 Sol at first, but if you know how it works, we just put most of the rewards into the LST, so that's why they correlated. And one part of the MEV reward goes into the Jito DAO, and I'm not like the super bullish guy on DAO and stuff, because I think a group of people always need someone to lead, and they need people to get paid. So you need income and people that are dedicated to DAO. So that's why I'm not bullish. But the Jito DAO is really different. First, because it has income through MEV, and I think that as long as Solana works and make income, Jito will make income, and the Jito DAO will have income. Um, Also, we have someone who is leading it, and by this way we have discussion and votes where people come and talk about what we can do with the MEV reward, with the infrastructure, and how to open it to more people to come into the G2 ecosystem. And that's where I think we bring value. First, when you think about it, it's not like it's not like, oh, it's because of MEV, but it comes first from MEV and then goes towards Jito DAO and then the discussion. And today we bring value towards validators because we have something called StakeNet, where you get delegated soul if you're part of the top 200 people, top 200 validators on Solana. And today we are doing a vote to make it 400. So you're giving more soul to more validators, having more value towards validator again. And this is where uh, you are bringing a different type of value beside validators, searchers, and other people, or other actors around MEV. And also, just to go on another topic that because we talked about like overhyped stuff and on MEV, I think that MEV is not understood enough we have some moment where you see overhyped stuff, but it's just because it's so small that when you have one new thing coming, people are talking about it like, oh, look, it's new. Um, and one thing that is coming with Jito in that is already like being tested with different validators is BAM, block assembly marketplace. I don't know if any of you have seen it or heard of it, but it is part of the thing that will be in the future. So I'm not gonna go deeper into that topic, but this is where we are making it, I think, better for MEV because the BAM node keep the transaction ordering private until execution. That's where you cannot sandwich or do your bad behavior on MEV, and so it's more privacy and fairer share of the MEV rewards towards all actors all around the Jito and BAM ecosystem at first. So that's where you create new revenue streams for actors. And it's also an innovation where you'll have people working around BAM and be like, oh, I can think about building on something on top of it, something around it. And that's where I think you can make a project coexist and not be overhyped, but thought the right way uh, on Solana at least.
Would you say that BAM is kind of like PBS on Ethereum? Is it a correct comparison?
I never heard. I don't think I can.
Yeah, because it sounds kind of like that, like a proposed builder separation on Ethereum, because you kind of decoupling block building from block proposing and
Okay,
validation. Yeah.
maybe.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, there are similar concepts being developed both on Ethereum and Solana. And I was wondering, I saw a very nice, very well-researched recent study by Ghost R&D team saying that at the moment, wide sandwich attacks are 95% of all sandwich attacks. So a full year of Solana trades were basically found that wide multi-slot sandwich attacks extracted 500,000 sol. And I was wondering, um, so yeah, so this type of sandwich attack kind of evades the standard single slot detectors that are usually very helpful for mitigating MEV. And so that is why wide sandwich attacks are very tricky, because they happen across these multiple slots. So you can just detect them block by block. And I was wondering, for DEX and wallet builders, what real steps can they take to protect their users beyond just telling them to tighten the slippage? Can you, for example, help with Jito relays, or can some anti-sandwich tooling help? I'm just wondering because I know that a lot of DEX builders are, of course, aware of this MEV problem. And if MEV is becoming more sophisticated and now using these wide sandwich attacks, what are DEX builders to do?
Well,
Yeah,
oh, you can go. You can go with them if you want.
no, no, go ahead. Yeah, I was just saying for text builders, I mean, first is transaction privacy. So things like private mempools and encrypted intents or like relay-based submissions can stop searchers from like seeing your transaction before it lets on chain. So, text builders can definitely utilize that. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of text builders who are doing the same. Like CowSwap is a great example of how they, execute it and how they, do this coincidence of swaps based on all their architecture, which is pretty cool. So if you don't know about cow swap, you should definitely check it out. And then for wallets, like it plays a big role. So instead of like pushing the responsibilities onto the user to like set your slippage lower, they can integrate the MEV protection natively, like routing traits through these private relays, detecting sandwiching attack in real time, or even trying to simulate expected execution pricing like before signing in. I think the Rabi wallet is doing a great job, particularly in that. So overall, the wallet space is still improving, but there is still a lot of work to do. But these are like I think the few solutions that the DEX builders or the wallet providers can work on. But yeah, would love to know what do you think, Ga? Sorry, go ahead. You're on mute.
So yeah, so thank you. So that's one of the topic. I don't think I could go like super deep into technical aspect, but the steps that the DEX and wallet could take is one of them is like the automated routing logic, where you can make the smart routing of your users transaction to like minimize their exposure towards towards it, but also as you mentioned, the Jito relays, which are part of the Jito BAM, um, help the help the DEX and the wallet to protect their users uh, from malicious sandwiches bots, but also you can have like anti-sandwich tooling, which now is, if I'm not mistaken, are being more and more implemented in multiple tools all around Solana at least. And one of the things that I think about when I think for DEX and wallets is again privacy. Privacy will definitely help, and with my knowledge, uh, BAM is going to bring it to the table. So more privacy, but also faster transaction. And that's where I think that we have something good with Jito, is that we didn't only thought about one topic and be like, oh, we're going to help on this infra or this problem. We have a whole and wide ecosystem where we have StakeNet, where we structure the whole validator infrastructure to make transaction faster, but also Tiprouter and more and more. So there is a whole synergy uh, by being part of the Jito ecosystem as a validator, but also for builders, that people that for project like here, Dexys and Wallet that build on top of Jito, that could integrate tools, SDKs that will make them part of the ecosystem and protect their users or protect themselves from any sandwich attack or stuff all around that. So yeah, that's all I can say. I cannot go deeper, but that's my take.
Yeah, but it rhymes again with the things that you said before about just inviting everybody to this MEV economy so that everybody can participate in this more ethical and fair way, and so that everybody has a piece of the pie, which is yeah, a good alternative to having monsters in the dark forest. Yeah, but speaking about blockchains and not DEXs, so what we talked about what DEXs are going to do with MEV, and now let's talk about blockchains, because some people now suggest that as blockchains become faster and more efficient, the real scalability limit isn't bandwidth or isn't block size, it's MEV. So it's there front and center. And basically, they say that as soon as you expand the capacity, the MEV bots rush in and fill it once again with searches, yeah, with search competition and spam, making the system congested again. So, do you agree that MEV is becoming like this invisible ceiling for blockchain scalability? I've heard, by the way, that Solana is planning to double the block space, right, by the end of 2025. But anyway, do you think that MEV is like this real ceiling for the scalability?
I mean, if you want to scale, then definitely you need to address MEV. Even with not just with Ethereum and Solana, with all these new chains coming up, as you mentioned, faster chains, right? So, for example, let's say about Hyperliquid. So, let me just also share my screen. I would love to showcase just one thing. Can you see my screen?
Wait a second. I'm gonna replace the presentation with your screen. Yes.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't know, Hyperliquid is this new pub DEX, and they have this new shiny pub DEX which have two chains, which is the Hypercore and Hyper EVM, right? So Hyperliquid is like very hot right now. So if you go and check the chain, which is the Hyper EVM, you will figure out that 23% of all the gas volume, like all the gas used on Hyper EVM, is just one arbitrage bot, right? So imagine you have a chain and like 23% of that gas is being used just by one arbitrage bot. Like it's insane, right? So this is definitely like degrading the quality of your for your blockchain. So even if you increase the gas by, I don't know, 100x, this is still going to be there. Like there is going to be spam by these bots trying to like extract MEV out of it, right? So you have to address MEV to scale, and it's like very important, because right now, hyper liquid ecosystem is gonna grow. Same with like this new blockchains, for example, Tempo, right? So Tempo is new Stripes L1 that is coming in, and I was listening to someone who is like a researcher and a designer of the Tempo blockchain, and he mentioned that still like they can't do anything to like eliminate MEV. So it's going to be there. You just have to make sure that you are channelizing it in a good way. And yeah, so this particular bot is doing arbitrage between Hypercore and Hyper EVM. Hypercore is like where the PubDex exists, and Hyper EVM is the EVM chain of Hyperliquid, right? So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, that you need to address MEV to make sure that you are addressing it and solving it after that.
Yeah, and I do agree. Oh wait, someone just ring. If I can come in 20 seconds, I don't know why someone just ringed at my door.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Yeah, maybe you could tell us more about Hyperliquid while we're waiting for Kuga.
Yeah, sure. Yes, as I said that there is still hyper like MEV on the Hyperliquid chain, the Hyper EVM chain, and then with all these new chains coming in, I think Mega ETH and Monad has to be like they're going to launch soon. So it would be pretty interesting to see how MEV plays out in these chains as well. Monad is like new L1 with like 1 second. I don't remember the block timing, but pretty sure it's like 1 second block time, and then with Mega ETH, it's even lower because Mega ETH has these two blocks, which is one is a smaller block, which is every 20 millisecond, and there is a bigger block, which is every 1 second, right? So I'm pretty sure that there will be MEV on the exchange as well to extract. But as things get like especially in L2s, what happens is like there is just a single sequencer, so you have the power to like control that flow, right? So it's very different space if it's an L2, and for L1 it's very different space. I know there are quite a few solutions that are building on Monad as well. Because since it's an L1, you have to make sure that it is the solutions are there from the beginning of the blockchain. So you are making sure that MEV is channelized in a fair and a transparent way. So it would be pretty interesting to see how these chains involved. Maybe we can do another space once these chains go live.
Yeah, actually, one of the comments that we had under this announcement of this AMA was about MEV in Solana speedrun. Basically, they were curious to know how searchers optimize for Solana speed. And I think that would be a very interesting question to all the new blockchains as well. Oh, I mean, not the new, just to the improving TPS and blockchains becoming faster. How MEV is going to optimize? Does it really need to optimize for speed?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, and I'm pretty sure that we will see it. I'm not sure if I can answer that question right now because any of these faster chains haven't like hit the mainnet yet, right? Base is implemented rollup boost, which makes it far more faster, which is slower block speed, which is like 250 milliseconds per block. But it is again utilizing rollup boost, which we already discussed. So it would be pretty interesting to see how these chains, take care of MEV. You guys back?
Yeah.
Hey, Kuga.
Yeah.
Who
Sorry.
was that? Was it pizza?
Uh, the person who was in charge of electricity. So I just ran down, and I
Okay.
needed to come back. I wanted to talk about MEV and scalability.
Yeah, that's more
I'm taking my
interesting.
breath, and yeah. So I don't know what you were just talking about like right now, but just to
Yeah,
come back.
we basically kept talking about optimizing MEV for speed as the blockchains become faster. But yeah, you can go back to the questions that we asked before that. Just what solutions are being created out there to solve this scalability issue with yeah.
Yeah. The of course MEV will need to scale, find ways to grow, but we need to really think about what we were thinking in the past few years. We're like, okay, we are maybe at the maximum of this topic here, and we thought we'll never have any scalability for some topics on blockchains. But now, if you look at today, you're like, okay, we found ways, and I think it's gonna be the same with MEV. We have different solutions, auction mechanism, uh, privacy solutions, but also one thing that I think is interesting, and that's where people could do research is uh, new new fees markets, because where you will not make money anymore, someone will find a way to make money somewhere on the same topic, but in a different way, and that's where if MEV doesn't scale, doesn't break the ceiling, and doesn't innovate, someone will come with a new innovative idea and be like, okay, I find a way to adapt on faster chains, uh, um, newer chains, and adapt to the need of the users, not only the users but also the builders and the whole blockchain ecosystem. So um, we should not be scared or uh, be like, oh, we won't have any solution, because I think that we are a lot and more people on blockchain, and someone will definitely come with a new idea or something to bring to the table and be like, oh, this is working better. Now we can go towards this topic and build something around. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. And talking about the next steps that MEV can take, uh, which trend do you think is going to be the next step for MEV? Is it going to be cross-chain MEV, basically bots and builders coordinating across L1s, L2s, and app chains? Or is it going to be the rise of user-owned order flow, where wallets try to protect and even monetize their users' transaction, something that you already talked about a bit? So where do you think the next frontier of MEV lies? In coordinating across chains or in giving control back to users and wallets and basically improving the privacy?
If I can jump on this question first, I think that relying on users is not something that works a lot, because a lot of users will be like, as long as my transaction pass and it doesn't overcharge me, I don't care who gets the money. I got what I wanted. We need to adapt to maybe builders and validators. And I see more and more people trying to find ways to bring value over the Solana ecosystem. I mean, I'm talking about Solana, and be like, okay, I make money with my project. It could be a validator, an infrastructure project, a DEX, anything. And the funds that they get, they're like, okay, I'm making enough money. How do I use this money to bring more value over the ecosystem? And I think that's where, for me, is the challenges is finding innovative way to appeal users, builders, and anyone who wants to work around MEV. Just be appealing for them.
Yeah, good point. I think we will still see the sex tax arbitrage going on because as the perpetual market and all these tax market grows, especially as we are seeing this lot of drama that was happening in the past few days around like Binance and like Hyperliquid growing up. So I'm pretty sure that like the sex tax arbitrage MEV is going to still like go ahead, and there will be a lot of value to like extract there. And in terms of MEV, just for the chains, I think there will be more and better like supply chains, especially in Ethereum. Once the PBS enshrine goes it is enshrined in the Ethereum protocol itself after the hard fork. I don't know when is that happening. Probably not not anytime soon, not in 1 year, but probably after, once we have solved a lot of problems that are priority for Ethereum, once we will have the enshrined PBS in the Ethereum protocol, that will streamline a lot of things, and that will make sure that Ethereum is far more better in Ethereum L1 and on L2s as well. We will see more innovations as Roller Boost keeps working on it, and there will be new solutions coming in. Uh, and there was also this new narrative of application specific sequencing, which I don't know, never took off, but the point was giving the applications control of the sequencing of the flow of the transaction that's coming from the particular application itself, right? So that is also a pretty much interesting concept. I do think there were few projects in the EVM space that were working on that and trying to make sure to have like application specific sequencing layer. So maybe that can go off, that can take a place in this MEV space. But overall, I think the space is pretty much growing, and we now have a pretty much with this institution coming in, all the finances going on chain, and then there will be a lot of value to extract in this particular space, and I'm pretty excited to see how this space grows, and what how much MEV will be there to extract, and what are the new ways that these MEV searchers and MEV bots are going to use. So really excited about what's coming in.
And I guess you would agree that we are not moving towards neutralization of MEV, but rather of transforming it into this normalized layer, and some even call it an yield layer that's going to be just part of trading and just normal trading economy. Would you say that it becomes just a yield layer?
I think it's innovate. It is changing, transforming, and it needs to transform. It needs to adapt. It needs to innovate. I don't know if the yield layer will be the right word, but yeah, since it's making a lot of income, of course we can think about that if we talk about it.
And do you think that it can actually become a public good that can fund the network? Or do you think that it is going to remain a kind of a zero-sum game between the users, the traders, and the infrastructure?
if you want to say something with them, or
Sorry, I missed the question. So sorry.
No, I was just following up on that question,
Uh-huh.
thinking if it can become a sort of a public good, bringing the funds to the network instead of just being a zero-sum game.
Of course. I mean, with application-specific sequencing, the goal was that we need to, distribute MEV and give it like back to users, give it back to applications, give it back to like application developers. And right now, for example, Unichain has this thing. I don't remember the name, but they have this good policy where whatever the MEV is extracted based on the priority fee, they are giving it back to the users and they're giving it back to the applications, right? So this is kind of like giving the value back to the community, giving the value back to the users and applications, right? So it's pretty much very interesting. And yeah, uh, following up, I think MEV is still a public good.
yeah, and I can say I definitely agree. And with what sentence, I think that as long as you make the money flow from the MEV into your ecosystem, you're a public good. That's how I see it.
And we've been talking about like users several times, saying that. Oh, sorry, Uttam, you wanted to answer.
Yeah, no, I didn't wanted to answer, but I just wanted to say I have kind of an urgent meeting that just showed up, so I might have to leave and go attend that. But thank you so much for hosting this space, and thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to that. We can do another session on MEV soon.
Thank you so much for being here. We can actually wrap up. I think that, yes, we are almost out of the questions anyway. And I thank you so much for joining this AMA. And thank you all the viewers who've been with us today.
Thanks
Have a,
for the invitation.
have
It
a
was
great day,
Thank you.
guys. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.